It would be really exciting. Now, city leaders have been looking at this for about the last year, getting options on what to do with the Grand River, maybe possibly turning it into a whitewater park. Now, after a few changes, the $2 million plan seems to be gaining momentum. Well, Christian, fortunately no injuries, but you can see behind me that they still have cordoned off the area where the apartments were burned up. Around 2 o'clock this afternoon, students noticed flames coming from a deck here at Copper Beach. In a matter of seconds, they say fire was shooting up the side of the building. Well, Lindsay, it happened around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Police tell us tonight that the 2 victims are expected to survive. Now, police are searching for the suspects and a motive. Well, Lindsay, there are clunkers out back here. Over here, the dealer stock on fuel-efficient models is starting to run low. Now, this popular program has had people shopping all day today. Many people looking to take advantage of this $3 billion government program. Well, supporters say that the ordinance will make everybody feel welcome to live, work, and do business in Kalamazoo. But opponents say city commissioners are trying to push a homosexual agenda on the community.
I don't have her age.
Okay, we're going to recap here. What the chief is telling us is that there was a shooting near Ann and Center this afternoon. Apparently, the police officer was trying to make a traffic stop of a moped. A man on the moped did not have the proper identification on him. The police officer was taking him into custody when there was some sort of struggle. During that struggle, it appeared that the man had a 9mm handgun on him. He actually did threaten the police officer, ran to try to jump over a stockade fence, and according to Police Chief Belk, the man turned around when he could not get over the fence with the handgun and pointed it at the police officer. Police do not know if the man fired off a shot. However, they do know that the 9mm was loaded. The police officer did shoot the man. He was struck, taken to Spectrum downtown, where he later died. We do know that the man was on parole. He was also wanted at the time of this incident. We're looking to find out more about that person, that individual. The woman that was with him was taken from the scene, but she is cooperating with police at this time. Right now, the officer is on paid administrative leave. This is standard operating procedure in all officer-involved shootings as the police department completes its investigation. We should have more details on this tonight at 10, and of course you can go online to fox17online.com. We'll be providing more information there. Guys, back to you in the studio. Well, Christian, it took crews a couple of hours to put the fire out. Neighbors tell us 86-year-old Robert Kelso was killed inside the house. A tight cul-de-sac filled with emergency and fire trucks this afternoon. Minutes earlier, neighbor and off-duty Muskegon Fire Lieutenant Art Backstrom noticed smoke.
I knew when I saw the smoke that it wasn't normal, and I just went out here to check on it, and worst nightmare. Fire coming out of the window where he sits in the living room most of the time.
The lieutenant started to run into the house, but the smoke and flames were just too much.
The other neighbor over here had opened the door, but the smoke was all the way down to the floor. There was no getting in, and we made a decision right then. The only chance was to knock out a couple windows, and the whole house was charged with fire and smoke.
Across the street, Poncho perked up. Lino Ortiz looked outside and saw smoke and flames. Lino was shocked to hear Bob Kelso didn't make it out.
He's lived there by himself. His wife passed away recently. He's a nice old man, nice old couple. They've been a friend of the family for a long time.
Even from a couple miles away, Muskegon Public Safety Chief Tony Kleibecker could see the smoke.
When I left downtown, I got the 7th and Shoreline and could look out this way and I could see the fire from that distance.
Every time firefighters thought they had the flames put out, a cold, hard wind would rip across the channel and feed the flames.
It's a very difficult location. It's on the channel, as you can see, and the wind's blowing off the lake, and really once the windows started to pop as the fire went, just really fed the fire with a lot of wind, a lot of oxygen, and made it that much more difficult to extinguish.
Lieutenant Art Backstrom has seen many fires in his 26 years on the job, but has never been on the other side of it, only able to watch as his colleagues worked.
These guys do a very good job all the time, and it just happened to be my neighbor this time.
Fire investigators spent part of the night inside the house trying to determine what caused the fire. Christian, we hope to know more on that later next week. Well, Michelle Diva Teagarden from the Gull Lake area has been sailing ever since he can remember. In June 2009, he became a medical officer on the Concordia. But until last week, the worst case he'd treated was seasickness. The Concordia has been to ports from Nova Scotia to Morocco to Algeria. On February 17th, 300 miles off the coast of Brazil, David Teagarden was in his cabin when the 188-foot tall ship was hit by a possible microburst during a storm.
So I was watching House, and the ship began to heel over or lean over, and I didn't think much of it because ships, when they do that, usually right back up.
But the Concordia didn't. The generator shut down, the lights went out. David used the light on his new laptop computer to see and realized because the ship was overturned, the door out of his cabin was now the ceiling.
I went up to open up the door and climb out. When I did that, I fell 8 feet down onto my rib and dislocated my shoulder.
The fall crushed his left shoulder, but not his survival instinct.
I reset my shoulder in my cabin.
How'd you do that?
Just pulling it down, pulling pressure down so I could climb back out.
Getting out of the cabin was half the battle. Now he and more than 60 passengers had to load onto 8 life rafts, and David and a high school student, Chase Barada, got to work tending to the injured, mostly cuts and bruises.
All the students were heroes and did very well and following all their safety training that they had learned, and everything was calm and handled really well.
40 hours in those rafts on, at times, stormy seas. Then 2 ships from the Philippines came along. Every single person on the vessel survived. David's dislocated shoulder was the worst injury on his boat.
Everyone knew we'd be rescued, and morale stayed high in the life rafts. And out of the 44 kids between ages 16 and 19 from Canada, the United States, and several other countries, were the most heroic people I've ever met.
I know. David's in the process of seeing doctors about that dislocated shoulder, but he says as soon as he's better, as soon as he gets the all clear, he's heading back to the boat.
He said it himself. I can't imagine that.
He said it was the most excruciating pain he'd ever felt.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Lisa.
People in marriages admit they've cheated on their partner. In this digital age, cheating is easy to arrange, even with just the click of a mouse. It's after midnight. Private detectives have followed a young husband here.
And a few hundred feet away is our target's vehicle.
In another case, a woman we'll call Mary Ann had suspicions about her husband.
My ex wanted to put all the blame on me is why he was leaving, but then I found out through my own little work of PI work here, I found out that he met somebody on eharmony.com.
That complicated an already rocky marriage.
And so during the time that we were supposed to be working things out, going through marital counseling and doing our marital things, you know, he was also seeing this other woman on the side.
I think by the time they call me to hire a private investigator, I only confirm their suspicions.
Kathleen West has investigated dozens and dozens of cases.
So I do surveillance, which means oftentimes just sitting and following someone. There's other things that we can do within the guidelines of the law to see what kind of public posts they've made on their social networking sites.
20 years ago, cheating was about opportunity. But today, opportunities are available without ever leaving your home.
And that's what makes it so, I think, intoxicating and tempting for people, unlike years ago when you didn't have that. You had to go to paper material to pursue that, or to clubs or something like that. It's right there at your fingertips.
Check it out. The website ashleymadison.com. Their motto, life is short, have an affair. The site specifically caters to married people looking to cheat. We posted a profile on the site. In a matter of days, more than a dozen people wanted to meet our married woman. Investigators say while technology makes it easier to cheat, it can also be their downfall.
You'll see hundreds of websites of spyware that you can put on your spouse's cell phone to have it directly call you whenever their phone rings so that you can listen in on their call.
The seduction of cheating can be hard to resist. Even Mary Ann has given into it.
Yeah, I've been on the other side too.
Mary Ann divorced, then last year met a married man at a party. They started chatting online, and recently the man left his wife.
I'm not condoning affairs. What I am saying is that sometimes you can't help who you fall in love with.
Now experts say while cheating is the downside of technology, that you can also use it to spice up romance. Just remember all of those texts and emails end up on some hard drive somewhere
There's
out there.
always evidence out there.
That's right.